starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
It is right there. Good morning to the grind. This is the Grind Online Grindology101 Podcast with your main man, the guy, KeJohnna Owens. And this morning, man, I got a 5-star right here. I call him the king. This young man is an absolute leader in the industry of auto sales, finance, and options, man. I've worked with them for some years. I've seen the quality of his work. And as always, you know, this platform right here is about people that are out there doing the work, that are out there committed to the grind. It's 6 in the morning on the West Coast right here. That means it's 9 in the morning on the East Coast. They're already making decisions on our lives out there right now. So this morning, let me bring my main man up. They call him the king of cars, Mr. Anthony Stewart. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Owens. How you doing, brother?
Man, I'm fired up. I'm excited, man. I'm motivated, man. I'm self-propelled, man. I'm in business ownership, man. I get to do what I want to do, man. And I get to get connected with people like you, man. On this morning, I'm loving the beard, bro.
Thank you, man. I'm, as I walked into 2021, man, I had to reflect on what got me to that place. And with that being said, like all the hardship, all the failures, all the shortcomings, all the blessings, and I decided to let it just flow, because I am a designer of my own work, man. Meaning, I put in this work, I put in this grind, and sometimes people don't know your story, man. So that's why you got to just let it flow, and then they can understand it, And what I mean by that is be consistent, be solid, and be about your work, in whatever industry that you might be in. Don't take it lightly, man. Be serious about it. I know I'm serious about mine. That's why I'm happy to be here on the show this morning. I've been watching you grow. I've been watching your whole mission take off, man. So it's like when you see that rocket ship sitting there before it take off, you see all that smoke, all that combustion, all that stuff going on, and then that thing shoot right on up. That's how I see your show going and your progress going, bro. I'm happy to be here.
And I truly appreciate that, man. The work. It's the work. You say it like that combustion, it's all building us. People like you to, oh, yeah, you blew up. Oh, no, I don't work like that. Don't work like that, right? It takes the work. It takes the work, bro. Out there in Dallas, man, you've been in the auto industry, and I want you to tell your story, about not just the industry you're in, but why you became such a dominant force, the king of cars. And I know you. I've seen your work ethic. So, as one of the top leaders in the industry in the country, just tell the people a little bit about yourself and why auto.
Sure, brother, no problem. I'll give you a little background on myself. I've been in the auto industry for over 20 years, servicing the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. I do sell cars throughout the state. So, but just in my humble beginnings, started working in the used car lane and got to really know about special financing. And that within itself kind of took things off. I worked in an area in Dallas, Fort Worth called the Arlington area. So as I rose and grinded up through the Arlington area, I learned some things early in my career. And I got a good friend that we both know, Mr. Turner. Mr. Turner and I worked together at a used car lot. And I would sit there as a green pea. That's a terminology in this industry is somebody green to the business. They're green like a green bean, you know. I was a green bean in the business, I would sit there and admire the fact that this gentleman's phone would never stop ringing. I mean, it literally never stopped ringing. And as I sit there and my phone is not ringing, I said, man, how do you get your phone to ring, man? And one thing he told me 20 years ago, he said, brother, you got to stay consistent. You have to be consistent, man. You know, you got to be good at what you're good at, and you got to be good all the time. So I took that nugget, applied it to my life and applied it to my personality, and then just started believing in myself. And that just took me to another level. And not to mention the relationships and the people, the community. You know, if you're in business and you're doing a half-ass job at whatever you're in, that's going to spread faster than you did a great job. So I wanted to always go above and beyond with my customer service ability, because you got to understand, you got to put yourself in the eyes of the consumer. Because when I spend my money, I want to be treated a certain way. I don't want to be lied to. I want to get straight to the point, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So I put myself in the consumer's position and wanted to make sure that I could give the best customer service experience to a person with a 800 credit score, which is perfect, to a person that's just trying to get to work. They're just trying to do better. You know, they one day away from losing their job. If they don't get this car, it can mean everything to their family. So I have to really grasp that, because the difference between a person with great credit and a person just trying to make it is the person that they're doing business with. That person that can take that situation, may it be good or bad, and make it plain, make it simple, make it comfortable, and make it work for their situation. So I really got good at that, man. Is making that connection with the consumers, man, with the people that I was working for. So here we are 20 years later. I really understand the meaning of brand acknowledgement. I understand the meaning of how important it is to stand on your name and stand behind your name and stand behind your brand, because people might not even know you, but they heard of you when your brand is good, you know, and that's really important. I've met people throughout the Metroplex that say, hey, man, I heard of you, man. I heard of you, man. Or they'll see me out and it's like on my jacket here, I brand everything that I wear. It says King of Cars, KOC. Yeah, that's funny. When we met years ago for the second time, KeJohnna, he said, man, who is this King of Cars cat, man? I heard the city buzzing his name like Batman, man. I ain't never seen him, but when I look up, the work has been done. So, man, that's so important, man. I tell the audience today. So if you own a real estate company, if you're in the marketing business, or if you're in travel, whatever you're in, make sure that you stand on your name, stand behind your brand, stand behind your product, and do the very best that you can, because, you know, good news travels great, but bad news travels 10 times faster. So you got to be mindful of that. And I know every situation is not easy, but you have to, from A to Z, do the best job that you can. So those are the things that I've laid in my foundation over the years. And I love my work. I have a passion for what I do. So, you know, that makes me a little different from the average person, you know, because anybody can sell you a car. But I want to help you. I want to help your life. I want to help you in a situation in your life that can open up a door. So, you know, it's just not about sales, man. It's about making that commitment to helping people and being great at it and standing on your word. If you can't do it, then say you can't do it. Don't be a person. I cannot stand the person that don't answer the phone after we said we're going to do something. You know, can you agree with me on that?
1 2 1 2, sir. Check mic 1 2. Yes, sir. You know, I'm chomping at the bit, because see, we speak science to people that need to understand the nuances of a major purchase. You know, client professionalism, quality treatment, quality service, following up, following through, keeping your word, your integrity, right? So when someone meets you out somewhere in the field, at Walmart, at the store, they say, hey, you the king of cars. You helped me that time. You may not even remember. It's a quote. You may not remember the work that you've done, but the work that you've done will always remember you. So your body of work is going to reflect you. So that's what we stand on. People don't know. Let's let the people know a little bit about, you mentioned it where we met. We synergize really quick because like minds meet, like minds impact. We begin to build and grow. End up being in the same place at the same time at the same dealership, right? At a circle, man, on the same day. I call you. I call this man. I'm gonna use it in partation here, if you will. This man, I call it Gucci slippers, right? He was helping people to purchase vehicles in such a comfortable way, where they enjoy this process so much that they would come and have a cup of coffee, take care of his client in a good way, make sure that they understood the process of an expenditure like a car, the second most expensive purchase we make in our lives next to a house. Man, the man was phenomenal, and I learned so much. I'm like, man, this dude is a bastard. He's helping people. See, the car business, I bring you back on the car business, it has such a thing about it. But when you care about people like you do, that's how you become the king. See, you care about people, man. That industry was amazing. We dominated the industry. I become the marketing director there. We were doing so much business to help people, and it was fun. How having fun with what you do? How important is that, sir?
Man, I want to touch on that story, KeJohn, because it was so funny. And it's like I remember that day very, very clear, man. I pulled up to the Clay Cooley dealership because at this time I was in the industry working for myself, being self-employed, empowering myself. And I remembered years ago when I worked at a dealership and a guy came in, a Caucasian guy came in, white guy came in. He had his flip-flops on. He had shorts. He had a hoodie. I looked at him, I said, man, he don't know what the weather is today. He got flip-flops on. He got shorts, hoodie. It's a little chilly out here. But when I tell you this gentleman came in, stroked the check, brought a client in, they purchased a car. Everything happened in about 15 to 20 minutes. And I said to myself then, that was like, man, years prior to me rising, I said, man, when I get real good at the game, I'm going to come in with my flip-flops on and do business that way and get in and get out. And so I said to myself years later, as I manifested through the business and I learned how some people say, hey, I want my slice of the pie. I learned how to be the oven that baked the pie. I surpassed just selling a car to a person. I really looked at the whole industry and said, you have some people in the industry that need your services but don't have time to go to a dealership and sit for hours and be told this, that, or the third. It take 5 to 6 hours just to get to that price or get to that payment. I said, how about I cut that process down? So what I did, I seen where it was a need and I put that need together and I made the process simpler. So when we met, I was about a year and a half into doing my independent sales. And when I pull up to the dealership, brand new BMW, drop top, beautiful day, drinking some bottled water, and I had the opportunity to pull up on you and our good friend who passed away. Shout out to the humble giant, my brother, Mr. OJ, man. When I pull up on you and OJ, you and Oliver, and you guys were sitting there, it was like, you were approaching, in the car industry when a customer, we all know when you pull up to a car dealership, you're going to have 10 salesmen attack you like sharks, which is very intimidating. But I pull up on this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful sunny day, top down, with my Gucci flip-flops on. just like a guy that I seen, and I'm saying, when I get good, I'm gonna manifest myself to be in a position to help people that way. And seeing you guys, and I got out the car, and you approached me, was like, "Hey man, welcome to Clay Cooley. Can I help you today?" And not quite sure what my response was at the moment, but I do remember one thing. I went in, I closed the deal, I came right back out within 15 minutes, and Oliver said, "Hey man, what you do, man? What do you do?" It was so phenomenal that I did what I had to do and got in and came right out and came out with a draft, came out with the paperwork, shake the customer hand. They were happy. And you and Oliver sit there puzzled, like, "Man, what is this brother doing, man?" I said, "Hey man, I'm selling cars in my Gucci flip-flops, man. You know, I supply a need, I take care of a want, and I make it happen for the client. And see you guys later, man. I'm on to the next dealership." It blew it blew y'all mind. It blew my mind. But what later happened when we all, months or a year later, I came to work for that same dealership. And for me, it was a point in my life where God had taught me that, and this is a very valuable lesson, you know, you can be good, but if you can create a situation where you can make others great, it's more powerful than just you being good. And I remember going into that dealership, that was 2016, if I'm not 17, going to 2017.
16, 17. No, that had to be 15, brother. We was
it was 15 going into 16.
Moving them out. Yeah.
So I came into that dealership with the mindset that I know I'm good, but how can I become great? So when I walked into that situation, I hadn't worked for a big. You gotta understand my situation. I had been working for myself, so I had this mindset of self, you know, and self-employed, self-empowerment. And when I walked into that situation working for Clay Cooley, at one point, a friend of mine, a good colleague of mine, he said, "Hey man, how you doing, King?" I said, "I'm good, man. I gotta go work, man. I gotta go get a job at Clay Cooley." And he scratched his head and he was like, "You going to get a job and work for a dealership?" To me, it made him, he didn't understand. Like, why would you go, as good as you are, why would you go and work for a dealership, right? And when you can work on your own time and you can do this, you can sell cars to your Gucci flip-flops. And I said, "Hey man, I'm moving the way God is telling me to move." Because at the time, I didn't know that me just being good wasn't good enough. You know, me just being good wasn't enough, man. So when I walked into that situation humble, knowing that I'm good, now I'm on a platform where we were working for the pretty much, this guy's played monopoly with the car industry, where he owns all these car lots, every different brand. We working for the biggest brand in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And I walked in humble. My first month, I did 30 cars.
Wait a minute. Hold up. I gotta take this part, brother. Because I was there, right? So I'm gonna share your testimony. You remember? I can't remember the gentleman's name, but he was the long jumper, the high jumper that changed, that you could jump higher than anybody else. The guy that ran the 4-minute mile before anybody ran the 4-minute mile, then everybody seen. You came over there, brother, and you put the work into it. See, as a marketing guy, I was drawing traffic. As an actual facilitator, and your ability to change the temperature of how sales and the process went, changed the complexity of how Clay Cooley went. We both did that. The culture had a good part of, right? The suit, the ties, the professionalism, the ability to communicate effectively with a customer, as we talked about, coming up with solutions. Man, you hit 40 on the board that had never been done. You said 30. When I saw 40, and I said 40, and you did it in a way. And it was no pressures. It wasn't hard. Just with a smile. And everybody wanted to send somebody back to you. I see you, Marcus. And you out there, man. That's our guy right there, too. I see you, man. Thanks for chiming in to the morning grind. Man, Anthony, man, I want to give you a chance to tell people a little bit about how to reach out to you and whatnot, but I got to show the people a little bit about who you are. Say a few words to a couple of our sponsors, a couple of commercials. I'm going to bring you on the other end and let you tell the people how to reach out to you, how to contact you, and how to, what they say, get off your feet.
Get off your feet and get into a seat.
That's my
So
man,
look,
right?
man, first of all, I want to say shout out to all the sponsors, man. Shout out to all the sponsors. Shout out to all the small business owners. Shout out to everybody that wants to make a difference, man. God has gave us another day, and let's give Him all His glory. So we're gonna definitely put the Lord out there, man. I want to say that on my heart. But in reference to your question, brother, so I am in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and currently I'm running a finance program where I'm doing some auto leasing, and we're doing commercial leasing, and I'm doing conventional buying, and also doing in-house finance credit. So from A to Z, whatever the credit situation might be, I can definitely help you. I can be reached on my Facebook. That's Anthony Kings of Car Stewart. Or I can be reached, my number is 214-356-8706. Far as financing, like I know you're you're on the West Coast right now, and I am able to sell a car with the right credit to anybody in the US. I can have the vehicle shipped to you. I specialize in low interest rates, leasing, because that leasing is so powerful. KeJohnna, I want to just touch on the leasing just for a few moments, because both sides of the game is great, but this side of the game is a little bit greater. And let me break down the lease philosophy for you guys in less than 2 minutes if I can. So if you lease a car versus buying a car, let me give you the difference between an apple and an orange. Both are vegetable fruits, both taste great, but an apple is going to do something that an orange can't do. So let's speak on that apple. So if you lease a car, few things that I have to highlight here is when you lease a car, you're never upside down. We all know that when you buy a car, as soon as you pull off the lot, if you bought a $25,000 car and you pull off the lot, that car value is only about $22,000. So you lost $3,000 just by buying the car. We all know that cars are depreciating items. Homes are appreciating items. Cars are depreciating items. So the more you drive your car, every mile you get, the lower the value is. So when you lease, you only buy or lease, you only lease the part of the car that you're buying. So if you're leasing a $25,000 car for 3 years, your payments are going to be about $375 versus if you were buying, the payments would be about $425. So leasing is cheaper. So the great thing about the lease is you only lease the part that you're driving. So in 3 years, off that $25,000, you're only accumulating about $12,000 to $14,000. So when your time is up, your 3 years are up, you come to a point where you have 3 options. Option 1, you can just walk away. You at 15,000 miles a year, you had about 45,000 miles in 3 years, and you can just walk away. Second option, you can get into another lease. You can go from one Cadillac to Mercedes, or from Mercedes to Cadillac. Third option is whatever the unit value is, and they predetermine. So in 25, when you buy that vehicle for 25,000 and you lease it in 3 years, your residual value will be about, on that amount of money, it'll be about $8,000. So you can lease it for the first 3 years, and when you get to that point where it's time to pay the residual off, which means the actual cash value of the car 3 years later, you can buy that for a lesser amount than you would with the fair market value. So you lease it for 3 years, and if you have the funds available to just cash out, then you can cash out and then you can own that vehicle. And one other thing, you get to write that off on your taxes. When you're leasing a vehicle, you're not owning it, so you get that money back. So you can, 90% of your payment, you can write off. So if you got a $600 payment, you can write off $599. That's huge. That's big, especially for a lot of business owners. So like if you're in a situation where you're a business owner, I can teach you how to convert your personal credit and get it going on your business credit. That way your business will take care of that transportation part. That's huge. That's big. I've been learning a lot about that in 2020, and I came to the point where I've got it mastered. I'm leasing a vehicle right now, which gives me all the options in 3 years to get into another one, to get whatever I want. Because to be honest with the pandemic and the way that we are now in America, everybody not going everywhere. I know I'm not. It's home, work, business meeting, meet a client, etc. It's keeping it to a minimum right now. So for me, the lease was a big, big, big thing and a big plus. So if you can lease a vehicle, and just to let you know, your credit has to be at least FICO score has to be 600 or better. But if you can lease a vehicle versus buying a vehicle, I definitely recommend leasing, because it is the best way to go. You get all the options and you're never upside down. And it's a good situation. Now, if you're buying, and some people are just old school, they want to buy one car, they want to pay it off, and then they want to buy another one and pay it off. You know, I get it. That's a traditional way. But in reality, if you're making car payments on it, then it's a depreciating item, and something happens to it, you be in a wreck or it being stolen, whatever the case might be, the insurance companies, they're going to just pay that vehicle off anyway. So ownership is really overrated, in my opinion, because if you're thinking, hey, I'm going to own this car for 4 or 5 years, you can't really predict the future. Anything can happen. If something happens, you don't have the car, all the money gone. So I think the lease is the best way to go, man. That way I can write the money off on the taxes, and you can pay as you go, so you don't owe. I definitely like that program.
Pay as you go, so you don't owe. You're a solution-oriented brother, man. You're making a difference, man. You've dominated the industry. It's been an honor to work with you and a pleasure to have you on today. We're going to have you back on, because in that industry, getting that valuable information so you can make an educated decision. It's not about selling someone anything. It's about introducing the opportunity for them to purchase a smart buy for themselves or their family. You offer them leasing options, man. We need to talk. I need one of them to rise, man. We need to do some talking, man. I need some of that He-Manism out there in the streets, man. Showing what Dr. Grind ride like, right, through the king of cars. We really talking about it, man. The grind mobile. And we need to get the grind mobile. It's black, it's sleek, it's fire, brother. Man, thank you, Anthony, man. The king of cars, we had him on, man. We'll be doing it again, bro. Have a good one, man.
Brother, salute. I salute you, brother. Have a great Friday. Touch some lives, be a beacon, and keep doing what you're doing, brother. I salute you.
Man, you got it going on, man. Absolutely. My man right there, the king of cars, man. You've been on the Grindology101 podcast with the Grindologist Owens. Want to give a shout out to a couple of our sponsors right there. Man, the king of cars, you're the man. Absolutely. Check yourself out. And we're going to get ready to get on out of here. I thank you, man. Shout out to the sponsors right there. Shout out to some of the amazing business owners, Go Future Greens, My man, the Thai guy. And again, thank you, Anthony, for being on the show today. Guess what? It's Friday. Get out there and get it. You're up. You're on it. Momentum builds up on itself. So we start this off in the morning. It is about the grind. It is about the work. Nothing works but the work. Listen, succeed on purpose, man. Operate in the spirit of success because success loves speed. It's your time. It's your time.